Hi there, my name is Denise Eckert, and I'm from the Relaxation Lounge. And I love bringing people on here to interview to help you reduce your stress. And they can share their amazing techniques and tips. And today I've got Pushtiie, who is India's first Creatrix Transformologist. And she's been a healer for more than 2 decades and has helped many to living a calmer life. And now she focuses especially on women and helps them sort out their generational trauma so they can own their own lives. So welcome, Pushtiie.
Thank you for having me.
Now, I love asking this question. How did you come down this path to helping women change their lives and create more calmer lives? What sparked that in you?
I have no clue, actually. Honestly put, I really have no clue. It's just that I've been around a lot of women for the longest time, and I've just realized that everyone is always really on edge with something or the other. And I said, listen, you don't have to be on edge, because thankfully, I just seem to be this really happy person, and I don't carry on one thought for too long. So I don't mull over it and I don't churn it and don't look at it from 20 different manners, like different perspectives, etc., which is just like a blessing, because it's something, it's there, or it's done. If I have to carry it forward, fine, maybe I'll think about how do I deal with this, but that's it. And the thing is that women, in general, have a very different mind space. It's very easy for women to get stressed
Yes.
because we remember every single detail of every single thing. And it's a superpower, I agree, but it's a painful superpower to have, honestly. Because what I have realized and what I have come to get confirmed with, when I studied Creatrix, is that women, because we remember everything and so much in detail, we don't have the habit of not sharing our stories. One story is going to get repeated and then repeated again, and then the third friend and the sixth friend and the 12th friend, and it's been 10 years, but we're still repeating the story. And what we don't understand is that every time we repeat the story, we use as much detail, and sometimes the story gets enhanced, so there's more detail. And because of that, our body actually starts believing that we're going through that episode right now. Right? So it's been 10 years, but we're still going through that episode right now. So it's very difficult for the body to disconnect from the stress that that episode caused us. And since we have such an amazing memory, we remember it. Sorry, you were saying something.
No, go ahead.
Yeah. So, it's like the idea is to kind of realize that we don't need to keep repeating our stories. Self-love is very important. And the first rule to self-love is get out of your own way. You basically have to stop repeating your story, because it is tricking your mind into believing that you're going through that experience right now. So, you will get, you break out in a sweat, you'll start getting dizzy, your blood pressure will go high. Everything that happened to you when the actual event happened will start happening to you now. Right. And the funny part is that almost every woman goes through what her mother, her grandmother, her great grandmother, and her great great grandmother, up to 14 generations, went through. And unfortunately, we've been labeled as drama queens, instead of being told, yes, what you're feeling is valid. So that is added stress. That, oh my God, I'm feeling this, but it's not right to feel this. And why am I behaving so silly? Why am I repeating myself? Why am I doing this? Why am I stressing out? Oh, lady, you were born to do that. It's in your genes. So stop stressing yourself out about being stressed. See what I'm saying?
Absolutely. And you know what? I never even thought of that, but it's so true. I mean, if you are thinking about a story, just say, for instance, you had a car accident 5 years ago, and you think of it, all of a sudden your body is just going to tense up. You're going to feel the pain that you felt. You're going to
Yep.
feel exactly how you felt during that time. And you're putting your body through that stress. Yeah, I never even thought of that. And we do
Yeah.
it all the time.
All the time. We love telling our story because, that we feel that's the only way to get rid of it. And everybody says, oh, if you share your pain, it lessens. No, when you share your pain, someone else shares it, so it doubles. So don't do it. The thing is that everybody goes to therapy. I have nothing against therapy, but when I started going to therapy, I had to tell my story, right, over and over again. And I was like, God, I don't like telling my story. I'm tired of listening to it, because if nobody else, at least I'm listening to it like for the millionth time, and I'm tired of it. And it's not just that, because I'm not only saying it to my therapist, I'm mulling over it again and again in my head. It's not gone, it's not empty from here. And because I've been doing that, it is not letting go of me. And because it's not letting go of me, my health issues are compounding, and they've become a big thing now. And suddenly you have shock, and suddenly there's fear that's residing inside you, which will pop out at any minute because you had an experience like that, that scared you, and then you remember it and reiterated it. And so it's happening again and again. And so fear is getting assimilated very deep into your system. That is what is happening. So you need to stop actually repeating your story. You see, it's very easy for men actually. It's like this, I had an accident 5 years ago. Yeah, now I have stitches and I'm cool. So what are we drinking tonight? That's how a man deals with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he'll be like, oh, cool, look at this. I've got stitches and you can see this. Now I made a tattoo out of my stitches. That's what a man does. And a woman's like, no. But then that happened and my wheel went left instead of right. And because it was a slippery road, it was the 12th of December. It was snowing very... Stop.
And that's 5 years ago, and you remember it step by step. And as you said, you also compound it and make it worse than what it was when it happens. It's now, okay, so what is a creatrix?
Okay, creatrix it's a modality. I wouldn't call it just a therapy. It's a modality. It's a modality that is being created by Ms. Sharma. She's an Australian lady who actually realized that she needed to do something about what was going on in the women in her generation, in her genetic line. Her grandmother, her mother, herself, and either one or two of her daughters, I'm not very sure about that. They were all raped at gunpoint in their own space, right? They were all raped at gunpoint. So she realized that it's generationally growing, it's coming down. If I don't cause something to stop it now, even my daughter's daughter might get it. I don't want that to happen, right? So she started working on understanding what works for women. Because our techniques or our ways of working are extremely different. In this world, whether we like it or not, it's extremely masculine, right? So all the healing techniques that have come from time immemorial have all been helmed by men. I'd go as further back as yoga. Being an Indian and strong in my blood, yoga. So that was helmed by the god Shiva, man, right? Masculine energy, basically. Then we come somewhere in between that. We've all heard of Reiki, right? So Mikao Usui, man. So after Reiki, let's go to a fairly recent thing, which is called access bars, right? With that access bars, again, it's helmed by man. So it works really well for men. It works really well for men, which is awesome. But it doesn't work as strongly for women because, a woman will come back maybe 5 years later or 10 years later saying, oh God, I've relapsed. I'm going through the same mind space. I'm going through the same emotional trauma. It's not over and done with, right? So Mez took 10 years to research this and came about with a way in which she goes and clears things from your generational line, and it is so powerful that recently, and she's not stopped, right? She's developing it constantly. And one thing that we've been working on right now is something called stress, and it just takes you literally 25 or 30 minutes to get rid of that stress response in your body. It takes you just that much time. Because what happens is you go into the origin of all of it, however it is, and you let it go from there, which is not easy to do, and it does not allow the woman's mind to wander when it's happening. She's devised amazing technology to actually let it happen. So Creatrix is something that will help you get your own understanding. It's not going to be like a therapist telling you, okay, this is what you do, that's what you do. Because we've heard stuff from a lot of people. Has it made a difference to our lives? Not really.
No.
If it was so simple, your mother's been telling you what to do since you were a baby. It never worked, did it? You're still wearing your shoes wrong, or you're still tying your laces upside down. You're still doing that. Until one day you realize that, oh my God, I need to do this in my way, I need to do this right. And you personally figure out a way to do it, because you are interested in doing it. Right? So this is that. The technique here is you are allowed to reach your own understanding, which basically lets you make the changes that you have to on a cellular level. Instead of me having to say something to you and you're going, okay, yeah, I will try that. You may try it very diligently, but it may not work because it's not gone deeper. It's not gone deep enough to make a shift in you. So usually what happens is we have very strong changes in our being when we go through a very, how do you put it, like a life-changing event. Usually that comes in as a trauma, till we don't go through something earth-shattering, we don't change. Our perspectives don't change, right? It's very easy. We're just going through it happily, right? So here, we're trying to bring back the impact of that moment without having drama associated with it. You do not have to tell me your story. You do not have to cry again. Your body doesn't have to go back into that space at all. You just tell me, I felt scared, and I will say, let's do scared. Let's get rid of scared. I felt anxious. Let's get rid of anxious. I believe I'm not worth it. That is why nothing happens in my life. Okay, I am not worth it. Nothing happens in my life. Let's deal with that. And it takes, for one thing to get done, it literally takes about, let's say, I said 25 to 30 minutes. Anywhere from 20 to 30 minutes. And it's done. It's never coming back. But what we have to understand is that it's about the verbiage we women use. I'm angry, I'm pissed, I'm enraged. It's all the same thing. I'm frustrated, I'm irritated. But we use different words. Now, why do we use different words? It's because different words literally have different energy fields in ourselves. Like, take a moment for yourself. Just close your eyes for a moment and think about rage. How's it feeling to you?
Red for some reason. I see red.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And now just think of pissed off. Do the same thing. Close your eyes, think of pissed off. What's pissed off feeling like to you?
I feel tense, very tense.
Exactly. So that was a color and this is a bodily sensation, you see. So there is a massive difference between every word.
Mm-hmm.
So when we do one word, we do not say that you won't get another word coming up. The intensity will definitely lessen, but there's a good chance that it might pop up. You might end up saying, I don't get angry anymore. I just get really pissed off. I get really irritated. You might say that because for you, in your body, it's a different emotion altogether. Right? So what we do is we quickly deal with those as well. We generally, it's called a suppressed emotion. It comes up and we deal with that. And once you start doing that, you get clean. And then no matter what happens, you're not going to go back to angry, because angry or rage or pissed off is not going to control you. You are going to control it.
So it's almost like you're getting rid of your triggers with the words and emotions, really.
Yeah, you're getting rid of the emotional response, not the trigger. The triggers will come from the outside, right?
Okay.
You're getting rid of the kind of response you've always had to those triggers.
Okay.
So the impact that the trigger had, is not as strong anymore. So it's not like you're losing the emotion. The emotion is still there. but you will decide when to use it. Like think of road rage, you're driving and suddenly someone cuts you and you're like, beep, 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 all of that. And suddenly, the next, you've done this, and the next time someone cuts you, like, oh God, just get out of my way. I could be bothered. I'm not wasting my energy yelling at you. Let me just go. It's that kind of a thing. Suddenly your heart doesn't contract because it happened, and you're not getting into, oh my God, I know what to do. You're not getting into that. But like, oh God, why can't they drive well? Get out. You've gone on your way. You're happy. You're friendly with your own self. This is just about getting to understand you the way you really are. It's all about bringing you back to zero, the center spot. It's not minus, it's not plus, in the center, because that is where we really should be, the ideal space of a human being, the central space. I mean, to make it more interesting, I'm sure you heard about men having the nothing box, right?
No.
Okay, so there is this, I keep forgetting names, I'm very bad with names. So there's this one doctor, and he talks about how men have a nothing box, where they, how men just sit and stare at some place, and the woman is like, what are you thinking? And he's like, nothing. And you're like, oh, you're not telling me what you're thinking, you don't love me. And he goes, but I'm thinking nothing. And you're just making up stories in your head saying, oh my God, is he angry with me? Is he upset with me? Did I do something wrong? And he's actually really thinking nothing, because men have that ability, and doing Creatrix actually gives women the ability to have a nothing box. Otherwise, women's brains are like, it's like a ball of thread that cats play with. It's like all over the place. It's all jumbled. It's all mingled, and one thing connects to the other, the other, the other, the other. And you're like, okay, oh, even at night when we sleep, we still don't stop thinking.
No.
Because there is so much happening in our heads, and it's amazing. I mean, I don't even know how we don't actually short circuit while we're asleep or something. Because we're constantly thinking. That is what also stresses us out. So Creatrix, yeah, I can see you have like a strong reference over there.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I mean, right at the moment, I've got all these jobs on the go. I'm starting up a business. You are holding all these balls in the air all the time. Yep. And that's who I am. And I do like doing it. But no, my brain has never stopped. And okay, I'd like to go back. So when you are having these feelings, these stressful feelings, how do you stop them?
Besides doing Creatrix, which is the perfect solution. The first thing I do is I start with breath. The minute you realize that you are getting stressed and, your body is starting to react, our body has a beautiful mechanism called the pause. You use that mechanism. You stop where you are. You take a couple of deep breaths. This will actually make everything come down. It'll settle everything down. And of course, it depends on how many breaths you need. And in the most stressful situation, you can use the pause mechanism, and you will be surprised as to how easily you start reorienting towards zero. You just breathe, and your mind will start thinking, okay, now I'm calm, now I'm relaxed, because I'm breathing. And the funny part is, when you're breathing, you can't think. This is a very old meditation technique. Because if you pay attention to your breath, in breath, out breath, in breath, out breath, you cannot think of anything else. Take a moment, try it. It's really fun. Try it. Just focus on your in breath and focus on your out breath.
Yeah. Because normally I do the counting because, you just need to stop sometimes.
Sure. But the thing is, you can't really think about anything else when you're actually breathing and you're focusing on your breath, which is why people who meditate find it the easiest method, And it's really interesting because then the mind gets a signal of calming itself down, relaxing, and that there's nothing going wrong. I'm breathing in peace and happiness, That's what the mind is getting. Immediately your bodily reactions start going down. They start going back to normal. They start fitting into wherever they are. Right now, they're all over the place. You breathe a little bit and they've gone back. They've gone back to, okay, I can do this. I don't have to worry about anything. I don't have to suddenly fire all sorts of things that they fire. Like, I don't even know their names. They're very complicated for me. So they stop doing all that, and when they start stopping, if that makes sense. Yeah. So
Stopping, yeah.
yeah, when they start stopping, it kind of gives your entire body a very good feeling and you relax immediately. So that is the first thing you go through. And of course, it's not over. The situation is still there. But once you relaxed a little bit, you can look at it with an objective perspective instead of being very involved in it all the time, because most of the time when you go through something like this, man or woman, you're really involved in it, right? You're in the center of it. And you can't really look at the periphery very obviously unless you say, okay, I'm calm. Let me take a look around, and we don't get a chance to do that. Another thing to do when you're stressed is what really works really well for a lot of people is look at one sense, any sense, like for example, touch, right? So around you, touch 5 things with different textures if you're alone at home. Otherwise, just look at 5 different things, look at 5 different colors, think of 5 different emotions, anything that's different but 5. Just think of that. That will actually ground you and it'll take you away from the stress that's happening. See, you've got to do that. All these things are tiny, they're sometimes inconsequential. I'm thinking, really, that's going to help. It does.
Yeah.
Because it immediately pulls you away from that. If you say no, talk to a friend about it, do not talk to a friend about it. Because you're only repeating your story and it's getting deeper dug into your cells. Don't do this to yourself. Please don't do this to yourself. Do not talk to a friend. Have you heard of Gurdjieff?
No.
Okay, so Gurdjieff was there's something called the Gurdjieff movement. Okay, and he was a teacher, right? And he used to be very short-tempered. So his father told him something. His father said, boy, give it 24 hours. If you're angry after 24 hours, go bash the bugger. I won't say a thing. But if you're not, let it go. Really. And that's very simple. It's a very simple thing. He's a master, of course. Gurdjieff is a master in his own right. But, even masters have daddies who tell them the truth. So, this guy, his father told him that. And he actually used that in his life, and which is where he settled down. The only thing with us is we don't realize, how quick our reactions are. In a state of stress, when we're provoked, our reactions are so quick that more often than not, we're thinking, why did I react like that? And why you reacted like that is because you're used to reacting like that. Why were you used to reacting like that is because you have learned that this is the reaction you need to give for this. Right? And where did you learn that? It came from your genetic line. Mom reacts like that, Grammy reacts like that, great grandma reacts like that. Everyone reacts like that. And then, of course, not the aunties and the friends, and everyone reacts like that.
Yeah.
So you've got to say, I'm not going to react like that. But it's not just going to happen. It's going to need you to be very, very aware of yourself. And a very simple technique to become aware of how you feel through the day or how you actually react through the day is journaling.
Sorry.
I believe journaling is a very, very strong method. If you journal 3 times a day, how you're feeling and what happened, how you reacted, you will start becoming aware of what you do. And suddenly when something like that happens, you're like, okay, I remember I should or don't want to do this. It's not going to be natural. It's going to have to be you saying, I'm not going to do it. But it works wonders. And it takes like 1 minute in a time. So do it 2-3 times a day,
Yeah.
And it's amazing.
What I like about it too, it's almost like you're dumping it out.
Exactly.
You're getting rid of it and you can get rid of it. It's
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And something really satisfying is at the end of the day, feel free to light a candle and burn the freaking papers. It feels really nice.
Exactly. Okay, we're going to start wrapping this up. Are there any final words you'd like to share with the audience today?
Yeah, I'll just say, first of all, women, stop telling your stories again and again, please. You really don't need to. You really, really don't need to. Second thing is, start becoming aware of what you're doing. And when and if you use the pause mechanism, try using breath with it, because you'll be surprised how normally people have not realized, but when we breathe in, our stomach also goes in, which is wrong. You breathe in, your stomach comes out, it's like a balloon. Most people who come to me for breaths, they have the basic thing wrong. They breathe in and their stomach goes in. They don't allow the stomach to come out. Very important, correct your breathing mechanism. The minute you correct your breathing mechanism, more than 50% of your stress will dissolve. Because to hold the wrong breathing mechanism causes a lot of stress in your body as it is.
Yeah.
This is what I would like to tell people.
Now, I always ask my guests, do you have a special offer that you can offer our listeners here?
Absolutely. I'd love to do a blockage identifier call with all of you. Okay. A blockage identifier call is where we sit and we figure out what exactly is bothering you, or what exactly would benefit you if it was not there. For example, someone say procrastination, anger. I don't believe in myself. I'm worthless. I am useless. I don't know how to do things, things like that. All us women go through it, right? So if you are interested in actually letting go of all this drama, I'm going to give you a 15% off. And that depends on what currency you come in, because Indian currency is something, but the other currency would be other things. So whatever, according to your currency, it's a 15% off.
Okay, wonderful. All Pushtie's information will be wherever you're listening or watching this interview. And thank you so much. It was such a pleasure to interview you today, and such amazing information just to help us reduce our stress and to stop telling our stories over and over again.
Absolutely. I'm glad to be here.
Well, thank you for listening, and I'll see you in the next episode. If you're looking for more ways to reduce the stress in your life, please visit www.therelaxationlounge.info. Here I've got access to a free Facebook page where you can get support, information on the podcast where I interview different individuals who share their techniques to help you reduce your stress, plus a membership that you can join where you can come and do stress-reducing practice on demand anytime you need to reduce the stress in your life and create more happiness in your world. I'll see you in the lounge.